So 2.5 months ago, there was $2 million worth of Ninja Ropes courses in this building. Now all that's in 15, 40-foot connexes, trying to find a home.
How did that happen?
What'd you do? Break my net?
Yeah. Trying to make this difficult.
Yeah, put it.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Yeah.
Are we staying here?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we're gonna actually play some pickleball today.
Yeah, playing in those?
So yeah, everybody, if you want to grab your paddle real quick, that'll be awesome, guys and ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So if you don't have your paddles, you might want to go grab it. This would be a good time to go grab it. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Nick. Appreciate you, man. You can put it on the table for me. Yeah, okay. That's that travel stretch, man.
I got a bunch of demos in there if you want to grab one.
Oh no, this is fine. I just say that it's a little.
You might be a scraper.
Sort of, yeah.
Man, what a great place. So we're just missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I'm not grabbing that stuff.
And there was some more coming behind you, right? Okay. Perfect, perfect. Yeah. right.
Jackie. First room in there. Jackie. Toss it in that first room in there.
In the first one? Okay.
Yep. Go start early. No bags on the courts.
Okay, no problem. Nick, is there anyone else in the room?
2 more people, they were changing their shoes.
Okay, okay. Appreciate it.
Good rule to have an effect right off the bat.
Brand new turf.
They're gritty.
Yeah. It looks totally different yesterday, like when they took the tape up and you can see
Right.
the lines now, it kind of pops it out even more, like more so than yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No clipboards on the court either?
Lamar can do whatever he wants.
Bill passed. You passed already. Is anyone else in there behind you?
Yeah.
Okay.
She has to put on her shoes.
There she is. Okay.
I didn't put on half my equipment because I knew we were in a
Oh, that's perfect. Okay. All right. Good.
no breaks.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started again. So good morning again, guys. Welcome to Paddle Taps. Before we even get started, before we even kind of jump in anything, the first thing I want to say, I just want to give a really big shout out and props to Bill for hosting us today. This is kind of a special one. You know, this is an incredible facility, you know, a new facility, and it's kind of a, I don't know, I feel honored to be the first one to set shoes in here. We actually be the first ones on the court to actually christen your building, man. A long time to come. So Bill, man, big shout out. We appreciate you hosting us today. And one thing, you know, this is not Bill's first rodeo in this, right? He's hosted, I think this is like your third one that you've hosted, right? That we've
5
hosted
now.
together? 5?
5 now.
Okay, that we've hosted,
2
yeah.
Lifetime and then Pickle Shack.
Yep, that's right, yeah. And a couple of those we've done together, and Bill's always, you know, such a pleasure to work with, man. So, you know, appreciate your partnership. And just from a PPR perspective, too, with Julie, just want to say thanks for having us in this wonderful establishment and having us indoors, man. No, really, you know, yeah, really, yeah, that's right. And I'm going to brag on Bill just for a second. I'm not sure if you all know this, but Bill has already been through this process, right? So he's already gone through, you know, going through this registration, and he's always, you know, going through this, the same thing that you're going to do today, right? And he's sat through this many a times and going through this in many different versions. And so Bill is also wanting to take a step further in progress and do some of the things he's from a clinician perspective and some of the things that I'm doing as well, right? So Bill's going to be shadowing me today. He's going to be helping me, you know, do some things. So I just want to make sure that you know that as well. as I give that shout out. So Bill, thanks, man. It's always a pleasure to work with you. Always a pleasure working with you and chatting with you on the court, man. So, yeah.
I can shout Lamar out just a
Yeah.
little bit.
And-
We decided when
Uh-oh.
we opened this that we were not going to open, and none of our instructors were going to be here unless they were PPR certified. Just to give you an idea from our perspective, aside from the skill, the knowledge, that insurance certificate, huge. To have liability insurance on a facility like this is, as you can imagine, thousands of dollars. The fact that we committed to having all of our instructors be certified and carry that umbrella policy from PPR saved us thousands of dollars. So the only other thing I would add, aside from getting this certification, is spend the money personally to get a CPR, an AED certification,
Yeah, thanks.
even online. We have AEDs here. A couple quick housekeeping things first. Welcome to Paddle Taps. You are the first ones on these courts. Aside from a couple hits on one court, you'll be the first one hitting on most of these. I would love at the end of the day to get your feedback. We've still got a lot to go. We've got fences to go. We're still concerned maybe a little bit about the sound, about putting some baffles up. So how the courts are, how you feel about them will help us. There's one bathroom in the back. I think I pointed out most of you. The very first black door, that one is cleanish, and it is supplied. Please don't use the rest of them. The construction workers have been using them for 5 weeks. You don't want to go in there. There's ice, water, drinks in a little container here. And other than that, this man knows what he's doing. He is the clinician of the year last year.
Stop it.
I-
Stop
I-
it. Yeah.
This is the 5th one I've done. I've done them with several in my journey going through the whole process, getting to the pro level, and now working with them to become a clinician myself. This is the 5th one I've done with Lamar. So he knows what he's doing. And the other thing I'll tell you is just relax. Relax. When it gets to that lesson,
Because I'm a tough one.
yeah. When it gets to that lesson, just relax. Listen to what he says between now and when we ring the bell. Between now and then, those little bell rings are important. And enjoy the day. It's a great day.
Appreciate it. Well, thanks, Bill. I appreciate that. And also, just want to give. I know they're not, kind of part of the direct workshop that we're working today, but also, Nick is here with us. Nick took the workshop with me, I think, several months ago, right? Over at Lifetime. Yep, it's been a while. It's always a pleasure working with you, Nick. Jackie's here joining us as well. She's in the background. Hey, Jackie. We got Rob. I'm not sure if everybody knows Rob in the background. So, you got, people. So I just wanted to make sure everybody's kind of introduced. So I appreciate you all. Appreciate the support. And I'll tell you all are coming at a really good time as well. And I know I don't have to tell you all this. The way this sport just evolves and continues to progress over years, it also gives us the opportunity to really go back and just look at our curriculum and start to update things as we go, right? And so as of January, we kind of going back, that study guide that you all reviewed is totally different than the one you had, right? And the one that you used before. We went back and kind of changed, revised, updated a lot of things. We also added that video as well, right? Added Collins Johns in there, and so we've got a lot of different material. Same content, it's just a different way of how we kind of deliver things, right? To make sure our students can retain the information a little better. So you'll find, for those of you, you'll find that today is going to be a little bit different than the way that you saw it, when you came in, but still going to be really good. To that point, I will tell you this. I know today is not Sunday, but like these are my sacred notes, right? And I'll keep these with me. I'll probably be referring to these even by the minute. And I do that for a couple reasons, right? Number one, this really helps me to stay on task with time, to make sure that I get everything together and to make sure that I get you out of here by 2 o'clock. And the other part is just make sure that I cover everything that I really want to cover throughout the day. And there's so much material to cover, right? So I just want to make sure that we can kind of get through everything. So that's my notes. But I want to let you know, because this question comes up early in the workshop all the time. You are more than welcome to take notes throughout all of the day. And if we need to pause for you to go back and get a pen and paper to your study guide, that's fine. If it's on your phone or your tablet or your notes, because as Bill mentioned, we'll be covering a lot of important things as we talk through and be very interactive today, right? And some of those things we're going to expect in your group lesson at the end of the day. And the other things you're going to see probably next week on your online test. So you're more than welcome to have that with you throughout all the workshop and take any notes and ask any questions. Bill already talked about the bathrooms. If you got to go, you got to go, right? So no need to get a permission slip from me. You know, if you got to go, just got to go. And we're all good. Not going to ping you for having to go to the restroom. So you're good. With that said, today's lesson from a skill level perspective, all right, we're going to work from an adult improver level, okay? And I know that's a little different because what you read in the study guide probably talked to a little more like beginners. And so you might have been thinking about, okay, beginners, and thinking about how we're going to work things. So everything that we're going to teach from, we're going to learn from today, we're going to start at that adult improver level, which means I'm not going to cover things like scoring because you already know it. I'm not going to cover things like rules because you all know that, right? And I'm not expecting for you all to be able to cover those things as well. Any questions there so far? Okay. Really, to be honest, my goal over the next 4 hours is just to make you confident and comfortable with the material and the format. And so you'll notice some things that we cover, especially when we get into the drills, things are going to be, pretty fast and pretty moving because the intent of the day is not necessarily to give you a lesson and to make you better pickleball players because that's where you are. It's just more or less to teach you kind of the format of how to coach the material. Make sense? And I want to ease your mind. Bill said one thing about just relaxing. So I want to say one thing that's just to kind of ease your mind because this comes up every single workshop. And I want to say this up front to ease your mind on a couple things. So this is what happens. A lot of people come to the workshop. They have a lot of fun, right? Because they take it with me. Right? So they have a lot of fun. It's great, right? It's great. And then at the end of the day, at the last hour, you're taking the group lesson, doing their group lesson. And then when they're done, they say, oh, crap, I forgot to say this, or I forgot to do that. He told me to do this and I forgot to do it. And then people walk away and it kind of ruins your experience because you're so stressed on that last hour. So just know that your overall rating is not just based on the last hour and that assessment at the end of the day, okay? Bill and I are going to be assessing, and we're actually going to start now. So it's not just that. We're also looking at your pickleball skills, your coaching skills, your ability to work within a group dynamic, the enthusiasm, the engagement. All of those things kind of play into your overall rating. And so that actually starts now and not just at the end of the day. So if you miss something, it's not a big deal. You've got kind of the whole day to kind of put that from a skills perspective and a teaching perspective. So are we good on that? All right. So everybody, okay. Kind of calm down a little bit. So pretty much the format of the day, I'm going to work on 4 concentrated areas. We'll talk about that a bit later. And it's going to be very interactive. But I hate to disappoint you that I'm not going to, be able to sit up and lecture you all day. I know you're disappointed to hear that. But I'm going to talk about those areas. We're going to talk a lot about the parameters, right, around pickleball and teaching pickleball, right? And we're going to demonstrate some drills. And then we're going to do a lot of micro coaching, which means that you're going to be doing a lot of on-court, coaching on yourselves within groups. And the good thing about that is that it allows you to get that feedback from me, right? But even more importantly, it allows you to get feedback from your peers, as you go through that whole process. And we'll be asking very open-ended questions. Today will be very interactive from the beginning, but that's going to be a good way because it really sets you up for the end of the day of knowing exactly when you walk into that group lesson, you're going to know everything from top to bottom and how to cover those things. So, all right, so we good?
Yeah.
We good? All right. So I guess we're going to be spending the next 4 hours and 40 minutes together. It's probably good that we kind of get to know each other a little bit. So we'll just kind of go out just a brief introduction. No dissertation or anything, just, I guess, your name, where you're and your exposure to pickleball. Cool? All right, so I guess I'll start. My name is Lamar. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I've been with PPR for about 5 years now, and I've been doing this clinician work for about 1.5 years. I'll probably teach more tennis than anything, so I'm on the court. I'm probably teaching you out a little more, but it is always fun to continue to travel and teach, and also do this with pickleball. As Bill mentioned, we've done this, quite a few times, and I got to share this quick story. So I flew in. Today I have a workshop tomorrow. This one today, and I was going to fly either last night or this morning, right? But today was kind of early, so I said, well, my flight was last night. Let me get an earlier flight. So I was able to get the first flight out. So I landed yesterday, and I said, well, you know, before I check in and kind of hang out, let me just swing by Paddle Tap really quick. Just kind of stop by and say, you know, a quick hello. And so I pull in and, you know, come in and, you know, the workers are here and everybody running the bill. And I think it was within about 15 minutes, you know, Bill put us to work. So we ended up being here quite a bit, but that was really good to kind of, you know, sit and have a good time to meet everybody and have some chats and, you know, also do that. So I'm really glad to be here. And I guess we'll float it over to you.
I'm Travis. I'm from the Columbus area. I live in Clintonville, and my wife and I started playing during the lockdown. We bought a temporary net and just would go out and play with each other with wooden paddles. I was convinced I was going to keep playing with wooden paddles, but I kept breaking them. Didn't know, and it was just so much fun. We didn't even know what we were doing. It was just a lot of fun to play.
How long did you say?
That was 2020.
Okay, perfect. All right.
So I'm Kyle.
Kyle? Yep.
I'm from Charleston, West Virginia. I'm a board member of the Charleston Pickleball Club there in Charleston. We have like 500 to 600 members that are growing, where we run leagues, events, different social events, things like that. And I started playing around 2 years ago this time. Walked on the courts, started just hitting it around and kind of learned and went from there.
Nice. Welcome, John.
Hey guys, I'm John Pauly. I'm from Northern Kentucky. I've been playing kickball for a long time. So about 20 years, but just serious about 3.
Nice. Tony?
Tony, I grew up in Westerville. I've been playing pickleball since the pandemic, and I used to run the Lifetime Easton pickleball.
Nice. Which one?
Easton.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Bill came in.
Yeah.
I'm Anthony.
Anthony? Yep.
I've been playing for about 3-4 years. I'm also from Westerville. And I teach pickleball at Scarborough and at New Albany Country Club.
Nice. Bob?
I am Bob from New Albany. I've been playing pickleball for about 2 or 3 years. A bunch of guys in the neighborhood kind of started picking up, and we kind of all kind of grew up together in the pickleball world.
Nice. Welcome. Jan?
Jan, I live in Dublin, and I grew up playing tennis and golf, and then my career was in the golf industry in Florida for years.
What part of Florida?
Sarasota, West Palm, PGA of America, PGA Tour.
Yeah.
And then I was in Carroll Rep for years. And then I've tennis my whole life, and then I started playing pickleball 2 years ago. I was the naysayer. I was the tennis player. I was like, I am not playing pickleball ever. And then I played it once or twice and played in a tournament, and I'm like, oh my God. I love
Awesome.
it.
Awesome. Awesome. Theodore?
I'm Theodore, and I'm from Menor, Ohio, and I started playing 2 or 3 years ago. Back at the there used to be a racket club called Menor Heisley Racket Club, and I started playing tennis like 12 years ago, but I've been playing pickleball for about 2 or 3. And it kind of was just like they would come in there sometimes, and but I've been playing a little bit more seriously now, and also I'm getting this so I can teach the pickleball
Nice.
along with tennis.
Awesome. Welcome.
So
Nathan?
my name's Nathan Palinkas. I'm also from Cleveland or near Menor area. I teach tennis and pickleball at Western Reserve Racket Club up by Hudson, Ohio. I've been playing pickleball for roughly about 2 years now. I started getting into it so I could play with my fiance actually and her family. I kind of taught them how to play, and that's kind of why I started playing. And then I got more serious, and that's that.
Nice. Welcome, Nathan. Bill?
I'm Bill Taylor. Obviously, I'm from this area up here in Galena. I found pickleball by accident. I played on the junior tennis tour as a small child up to around 14 or 15, and then college. And then out at Scarborough, I broke my wrist. 2014, couldn't lift a tennis racket, and all of a sudden I could lift a paddle for pickleball, and I've now played tennis about 10 times since then. Competitive player since 2016. Got very lucky, hooked up with Selkirk early as a sponsored player. They worked me through 2 brand new knees, and then because of Tony and Rob, we got hooked up with Lifetime when they started building courts. And then as a little bit of a salesperson, we found the gentleman who was going to make this an indoor soccer facility. we had a conversation, and as you can tell, there are no soccer fields now. So very blessed to be involved with pickleball for about the last 10 years, about 120 tournaments, and getting back to that level, and also run a nonprofit that we bring a lot of kids called Ninja Pickleball, bring a lot of kids to the sport, and very happy to be here.
Nice. Welcome. Trent.
Hi, my name is Trent. I played tennis growing up and started playing pickleball in December of last year.
Yeah, he's going to help put nets together. How are you,
I
Eric?
recruited Dave today too.
Oh, beautiful.
Dave Lusk.
Yeah, they're both members.
So-
You know Eric, don't you? Say he plays at Lifetime.
Yeah.
Oh, he plays plays the ladder leagues at Lifetime. Him, his wife, Dave plays. I'm gonna have Nick show you how to put them together.
Okay.
Because he put them together yesterday. What do you think?
Beautiful. I got a hard cutoff at 11:30.
Perfect.
I got match play scheduled at Pickle.
Nice. Welcome,
but
welcome.
I can
Becca.
get back to
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
You know, I'll talk to Elizabeth too because she might know.
Hi.
Oh.
Playing for about 4 years. My dad taught me during the pandemic as well.
Can I ask you a big favor? Can you show Eric how to put one net together? Yeah. They're gonna build nets all day for us.
Oh, nice.
All right.
All
right, cool. Do you know Eric, don't you? He plays at Lifetime. He plays in my ladders at Lifetime. Do you know Nick?
All right, so Becca, I have to ask, from Lex, are you a University of Kentucky fan?
Yeah.
Are you? Becca pass.
Yeah,
You can
put
go.
two
You're
together
good.
already.
You're good. You're good. So we got that in the comment. Okay. Yeah. All right, Marcus.
We lived in Bentonville for about 4 years. Okay.
We travel around, play pickleball tournaments and fun stuff.
Cool.
Co-founded the Indie Pickleball Club
PPR certification.
a non-for-profit.
I love free labor. Guys, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Good. So,
Nice. Yep.
you guys know Rob already? He's probably seen Rob.
All right, we'll jump right in. We talked a little bit earlier. Good, we kind of got to know,
So you
to know
know
each other
Rob
a
will
little
give you
bit.
a tour. Rob's
quick
gonna
question.
GM
I know
the
we got the
whole
thing.
thing.
Can you all hear me okay?
Obviously,
we need to
welcome.
group
We're
in.
almost-
Okay, so if
we're
you
about right
find
here.
it, just tell me to really
Extra
speak
bodies
louder.
to help
It was
get
weird
these
because I
nets
first
together.
came in and
Awesome.
Bill put this
We
thing
got
on me. I was like,
PPR
what, you put a
came up
paintbrush
from
on? Like,
Atlanta to do certification
what are you
class
doing?
for us.
So you put this on me. So I
we
just
got
want to make sure
people
that,
from
but if I
4 or
can't,
5
just tell me to
different
really
states
speak
doing
louder, or we can always
certifications
kind of
and,
group, together again too. But I know we
Things will go
talked
up
about
next
that
week,
study
and
guide,
then
right?
You guys will be back
And
out
hopefully
here
everybody
playing
has had the
very
opportunity
soon
to really
afterwards. And there's
review
my lovely
everything,
wife.
that study guide and that video. You know, there's a lot of material in there, right? It's a lot of material, so we won't
You are
really be
awesome.
able to cover everything,
Thank you
but
very
it is
much.
imperative in order to be successful today that you are at least
Yep.
familiar
Yep.
with
What do
the
you think?
content of that study guide, right? And one of the things that you probably recall, everybody recall, when you open that study guide up,
I gotta introduce you to one
everybody
person.
probably, you remember this? All right? This open, close, open progression
have
through
to
that
put it in
hourglass.
for
So I
you.
want to spend just a couple minutes kind of talking about this progression, because this is going to kind of govern everything that we're going to do today, and everything that we do to kind of align where we are. So I want to spend just a quick moment, just a minute, just to kind of go over this, hourglass structure. So when we're in that, yes,
One thing,
okay,
the real reason that we have paddle taps is that this woman's put up with me for 40 years. 10 kids, 38 years. And I said, I'm thinking about opening a place called Paddle Taps before we even had any investor or any money. And she says, can you just be happy playing? And then it happened. So this is Lamar. This is my wife, Karen. All
I've heard so much about you. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
right,
Yeah.
I'll take care of that in just a couple seconds.
Okay.
All right, love you.
So you got it, bread, butter, milk on the way home. You get it?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
she
All
brought
right.
me some Advil for my knee.
Oh yeah. Well, that's good. It's good to meet her. I can hear a lot about her. Okay, so that open, close, open progression through the hourglass. Let's spend just a moment talking about this. And I'll make sure we're clear because this governs kind of everything we do. So the top of that hourglass, this is our open observation, right? And this is where we are putting our student in a game situation, right? We aren't coaching, we aren't providing feedback, we aren't saying anything. We just put them in a game situation relevant to the skill that we're developing. And we're just watching and we're observing, right? And as we start to kind of semi-close, we start to analyze what our student is doing or what they may not be doing and how we're going to develop that skill. So that's that analysis part. All right, that brings us into that closed portion. The closed portion is where we're going to spend the bigger part of our lesson, because this is the skill development, the coaching. This is where we're coaching, providing feedback. We are talking about those parameters. We are demonstrating the drills. Yeah, Bill, it's funny because we were in a workshop the other day and somebody said, Lamar, when you say something very important, we want to take these notes. It's almost like you need a little bell with you. I would definitely be ringing the bell right now, big time, because 85% of people miss this in the group lesson, right? You got to talk about those parameters. We got to demonstrate the drills. This is in that skill development where we're teaching our students. And as we put them through development drills and maybe start to make it a little more competitive, start to semi-open, our lesson, that brings us to the bottom part of that hourglass, which is the open game development, right? Again, we're putting our student in another game type situation, and now we're just able to evaluate how well they're doing relevant to the skill that we've been developing that day. I know that's a real quick 1 minute, quick and dirty on that, but I want to pause there to answer any questions at all regarding that hourglass, because that's very important. So if you have any questions, this is the ideal time. Yeah.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
I know we're not doing beginners.
Sure.
But what would you consider the open part of like a brand new beginner course?
Mm-hmm.
Because you obviously don't let them loose to play like you would with intermediate.
And my response to and I want to get your opinions too, to see what you think. It's like, yeah, very interactive, great question. My response to that would be, it depends, because it's going to be depending on the drill, the skill that you're developing for that lesson. So in other words, when you go into a lesson, we very seldom, as good coaches, right, we very seldom go into the lesson without a plan, right? And so if that plan is going to be, today I'm going to develop something in the non-volley zone. So that means that whether you're a beginner or whether you are whatever level that you are, all of my drills are going to be relevant to that. So you're going to, and we'll talk a little bit more about that and get more in depth about that into the lesson, but it's also really going to be dependent on what the skill that you're going to be developing that day. But no matter if a person is a pro or a person is a beginner, you can put them through the exact same drill to be able to observe what they're doing or not doing. And you can, maybe not just one drill, but you can probably do that through a series of drills as well. But we're actually going to go through several of that, but I hope that answers your question. Okay. Any other questions?
What do you recommend for like the time
Nathan.
allocation? Like if
Great
you're
question.
doing like an hour lesson, like how long for the open
Great question.
part, close, and then open again?
Great question. Anybody know my response to that one? It depends. Low five. Yes. He's got it on pass, man. You got it. It depends. You're right. Obviously, let me ask you a question on that, Nathan. When you are in a group lesson, based on that hourglass structure we just talked about, right? Where are you going to concentrate the most part of your lesson?
Probably on the closed part. Well,
Everybody agree?
Part, sorry, like the term. But
Everybody agree? I agree with the first thing you said, in the close, because that's where you're teaching and developing, right? You're going to see what they're doing. The biggest part we're going to do is the smallest part of the hourglass, but it's where you're going to spend most of your time, right? And so it really depends how long you spend there, because you can observe something that Becca is doing and you can see it in a second. Okay, hey, I got some drills, and then you breathe in, you close it right away, right? And it may take 45 minutes to help develop that skill. It may take just 20 minutes to develop that skill. So it all depends on where your students are within that lesson in terms of their skill level relative to what you're teaching. But the majority is going to be kind of in that middle. So, if you've got an hour lesson and you're going to spend 10 minutes up here, 10 minutes down here, at least 40 minutes I'm going to be spending in, that area in that closed session. But great question. Any other questions on the hourglass? Yeah, and that's not the first time we're going to talk about it. We're going to get, we're going to get into more details. But any other questions? Okay. Yeah.
In the
Theodore.
closed part of the lesson, are you able to still run different games that aren't playing a pickleball match, but different games to work on certain strategies? And is that part of the closed section, or would that?
That's going to be that's going to be part of your closed. It's going to be part, but then you start getting into. You start kind of getting in.
Kind of more at the end of the closed section where you.
Yeah, you're going to make it a little more competitive to kind of and then you start when you get into more game, drills and points and competitiveness. That's going to be part of your close. When you get into kind of a game type situation, that's where you're kind of opening it up a little bit. Yeah. But we'll talk more about that, how that blends into that bottom part of that hourglass. Great question. So let me ask you a question.
Too early.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. When you're coaching, or even when you're out, on the court, what are some of those technical parameters that you think about when you're coaching, or even when you're playing pickleball? And this is in the study guide. What are some of those technical parameters that come to mind when you're out on the court? Okay, so getting warm. What do you think? So, stance. Yes, stance is one. What else? Grip. Yep. What else? Got stance, grip, weight transfer. Yep. Yeah.
I'm old guy. 60 years old, I don't do anything to read stuff, so I don't.
Yeah. How about this? Grip. Right. Paddle grip. Right. So there's grip, and there's one more. There's actually two more. There's one more stuck out, but there's one I'm going to add to it. So there's six. There's one more.
The use of your dominant,
Non-dominant hand. That's right. Use of your non-dominant hand. That's true. And there's one more that I want to kind of add in there too, and that is paddle preparation, right? And the study guide talks a little bit about that, but I think that's equally important. So that's kind of one that I'm going to add in there, right? Those six, those are very important. We're going to really be covering those technical parameters, and we're going to be aligning those to that hourglass structure, right? So that's going to be pretty much what our format's going to be today. Why are those? Why do you think those technical parameters are so important? It's the foundation, it's the structure, right? It gives your student a structure for everything that's going to happen in that lesson, right?
Yeah. So it's on its own breaker.
I would say how important. Why do you think technical parameters are more important than tactical?
Because
Theodore?
without having them, if you just start going into strategy and tactical, then you won't have any foundation.
Right.
To start with.
So in other words, you can't expect for somebody to tactfully be able to go do something if they're not technically or fundamentally able to go do it, right? You got to show them how to do it before you can teach them the strategy behind it.
Yeah.
Great.
That's
You got it. Yep. You said it perfectly. So speaking of that, what are those tactical parameters that you think about? So we talked about the technical side. Now what about the tactical side? There are 5 of those. Yep. Nathan?
On the third shot drop.
So third shot drop could be what? Maybe, okay, with that third shot drop, in order to make that third shot drop effective, right, it could depend on where I am on the court. So my positioning, right? Okay, so positioning is one. What else? Accuracy. Yes, accuracy is perfect. And there's one that goes along with that one too, Becca. Consistency. Yep, exactly. There's 2 more.
your strengths and weaknesses versus theirs.
That's right. Being able to capitalize on your strength, but also being able to exploit my weaknesses, right, to make it a better thing for you. Right, I like to cover these parameters up front really early in the lesson because, as I said, this is something that we're going to spend a lot of time covering. And Bill, can you ring the bell for me? Ring the bell. This is what I'm going to be looking for. This is what we're going to be looking for in your group lesson, that you're covering this, right, and getting into real detail about this. We're going to talk about that, and also you're going to see that on your written test as well. We're going to talk a little bit about this, but this is not so much part of the lesson as it is just sharing this with you as coaches. But the other part is safety, safety being very important. And, we're starting to, there are a lot of injuries with kind of rollover, and, you start to see a lot of students now that come out with cross trainers, right? And I guess it's different from tennis, if you're going this way and this way, right, with cross trainers is good, but it's that side to side where you're getting a lot of the turnover in the ankles. And so it's always, really good to have that view of your students and being able to speak to that. But there's also another prevalent injury that's really becoming, this is really standing out now. Many injuries. Percentage-wise, I think it's like 65% within the last year. Anybody know what that is? Eyes. Yeah. Yep. You got it, Janice. Eyes. And, it's different when you're in a controlled environment like we are today, but in those competitive type situations, to be able to speak to that eyewear, and really talk to your students about that. We will cover a little bit about that, but we won't get into a lot of detail about that. And I think I saw
I just
your
have
hands.
a question. From a liability standpoint, if I'm coaching, do I have to have my person wear eye protection or not?
No.
No.
So in racquetball, when I played in the day, you had to wear.
Mhm.
If you were coaching somebody in racquetball. So I could say you should wear eye protection, but it doesn't increase my liability if they get it detached, right? Cool?
Yeah. But the good thing about it is once you become part of the PPR family, you're going to have that liability insurance and you're covered.
I
So,
already do.
yeah.
By the way, I have glasses for sale in my bag if you would like to.
Yeah. Jan, you had a comment or a question?
Oh, I had a comment just to say
Sure.
my ex-husband is a retina surgeon. And
Ah.
we don't talk a lot anymore,
Okay.
unfortunately. But he does call me or text me every time he
gets a
sees a
pickleball client.
in his office. And it is very common. So
So that's important, right? It's that,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's very kind of, yes. So it's, yeah, from that perspective, I can see where the business is getting really, really good, but it's unfortunate for us. We really have to be careful, especially as this game evolves into technology and power. You know, those kind of things, we really have to be, careful about that.
I think it's just from like raising 3 kids in sports and being in sports my whole life, there's the stigma of wearing safety glasses. I don't see
Yeah.
a lot of people wearing them. And when you do, you see maybe one in our group would have them, and then you're like, oh, well, yeah, I know I should, but, and I wish they're making progress with style and things like that, but I think there is a stigma about wearing, if we saw better players wearing them, then
Right.
it would be a trickle down.
Be a trickle down. Yep, good point. Thanks for bringing it. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate you sharing that. How we doing? Everybody good? Thumbs up, we good? Okay, so one thing I want to mention, breaks. We will take periodic breaks between the different lessons that we're going to do, but those will be like really quick 5 or 10 minute breaks. If you need water, I want you to stay hydrated. Definitely, if you need water, something, please feel free to go get it. But I do ask that if we're within one lesson, right? Like if we're talking about the non-volley zone and we take, we break in between, coming in and interaction pieces. If we can go get that and come right back out, we'll take a bigger break in between one. So we'll have maybe 3, 5 minutes. But you'll find the time is going to flow by really, really quickly. And but before you know it, we'll be at time because we're going to have a lot of fun. All right. So I'm just going to jump right into this, and I just want to ask a couple questions. So when you're starting a lesson. You're going into a lesson. What's the very first thing that you're doing when you're starting a lesson?